you're looking at a man who I felt needed recognition. Now, he used to go by Don Johnson, and now he goes by Diop Kamau. He is the original OG cop watcher. Let's get into a little bit of his story. Everybody hit the like button if you would, please, and then type in the comment section, OTVO, overturn Terry versus Ohio.
Jackson scored the highest in his department on a series of exams and was promoted to sergeant. But instead of things getting better, they got worse.
Suddenly, you have some of these 20-year veterans who have had a compounded history of racist attitudes that they've been able to live with, suddenly being told what to do by a 29-year-old black sergeant. And for some of them, that was just too much to handle.
And perhaps too much for Don Jackson to handle. After 6 years of racial conflict, he took a stress-related sick leave, convinced that blacks could no longer receive equitable treatment in or out of the job.
Hey, I said put your head back on the floor. Okay.
With gang violence in LA County at an all-time high, police walk a fine line between enforcement and abuse.
Okay. Let's get that on my knees, man. That's not necessary, man. Picking up the wrong people all the time, man.
For Don Jackson, the last straw came when police clearly crossed that line in an incident involving his own father.
He was driving with my younger sister and 4 kids in the car. He's ordered off the road by several Pomona police officers.
And I was yelling to the officer that I'm a deputy sheriff. I was ordered then to turn around and walk backwards toward them.
Allegedly, what they were looking for was a black man, approximately 25 or 30 years of age, who had just committed a robbery and a drive-by shooting.
When I complied, I felt myself being pulled up off the ground, and I was body slammed in the street to the sidewalk, which caused me to hurt my hand and dislodge a kidney apparatus that I have to wear. At that time, the officers put handcuffs on me, and one was holding my head down on the ground with his knee.
Now, my father's driving a van with 4 kids in the car, none of them are over 5 years old, and a woman, and he's going to do drive-by shootings and rob houses.
When they did find my identification, they uncuffed me, and they told me that I should understand that I'm a police officer, that this is part of police work.
Did you understand?
No, I didn't understand.
Were the kids visible?
Oh, yeah, they were visible. They were in shock. They don't even want to ride anywhere with my father in a car because that's the impact that it's had on them. My father, I'm 30 years old now. I had never seen him cry in my lifetime.
So a little bit of backlog on Diop Kamau. His father was a police officer during the civil rights era, and through the 60s, his dad fought on the side of the state, often abusing, beating, and torturing black people. And so his dad taught his son, Diop, that you should respect the police, you should respect law and order. And then after being a cop for 30 years, the cops pulled him over and beat the holy hell out of him to the point where he now has to have a colostomy bag off the side of his body. He can no longer go to the bathroom normally. He now has a bag off the side of his body for his bathroom breaks after the cops beat him severely.
You have to excuse me. Everything you live with, all your principles, all your thoughts, just going down the drain.
In the beginning, there was Diop Kamau. Diop Kamau was a former cop who quit being a cop because he knows that it's an evil, racist Death Star. Diop quit, and he became one of the first ever cop watchers.
Put that down, please.
The camera?
You don't have any weapons on you, do you?
I have no weapons.
I wonder why you're approaching me, sir.
I'm not approaching you. I'm backing up. I'm not touching you. I'm going to stand on a lighted street. I'm going to come over. I'm standing right here.
Last year, to test citizens' complaints that cops routinely targeted blacks for illegal stops, Kamau is on the beat in Beverly Hills, California.
Am I under arrest?
No, sir.
Am I being detained?
Well, I'm going to stop. I'm going to write you a couple violations I see on your truck, okay?
After initially saying he would issue some traffic tickets, this officer lets Kamau go. In a separate incident, just like in Long Beach, the Beverly Hills police pulled Kamau's partner and chief investigator Paul Parker over because they say he is weaving in traffic.
Basically, again, they're lying.
Officers order Paul out of the car and begin searching him. Kamau moves in with his camera.
Are you with them?
That's really none of your business, and I don't have to answer that question.
You turn that light
Oh, I'll tell you what. Oh, wait a minute. I'll turn the light out.
You don't you dare be telling this man what to do. You'll be interfering with us, and I will take you to jail. All right?
Do what you have to do.
Now, he grabbed my camera, which is my property. That's one thing.
I'm stepping back out of your way, and I'm not answering any questions.
Turn that light off. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll turn the light out, and what I'll do is I'll step into some... Oh, you're hitting me now?
No.
You just put your arm on me.
The second point is he stepped to the one side and he pushed me. Once an officer feels entitled to push, he could get his baton out, he could use a taser on me, he could spray me with mace.
Let's listen to how Diop, Kamau, how his resolve doubles and triples the more he's pushed around by the police.
And you said you were going to, what, throw my ass in jail? Was that what you said to me? If he does that, then what?
Diop Kamau is a man on a personal crusade.
Now, what's your name, officer?
Some might say too personal.
And why'd you put me over?
The mission is to bring
You have
the
lights on
police
before-
and individual police officers back in concert with the law. Because I honestly believe that they're writing their own law. They're writing their own rules.
Okay, I got you. Give me
He puts his body and his camera lens out there.
Okay, he's in, and I don't hear anything just yet.
Bad cops beware. Kamau wants you to know he's watching you. What do you say to the person that says, leave the cops alone?
If I could leave it for the police to take care of the problem of police brutality, I wouldn't be on the streets. But the police have done a dismal job in correcting misconduct.
Kamau's controversial methods have brought out into the open some moments that police probably would rather no one saw.
They got us. Everybody's cleared.
Like what happened in 1989 on this street in Long Beach, California. Kamau's work on this night became a national story. The car is stopped, officers later said, for allegedly weaving.
We never changed lanes. We never touched the margin lines. We're driving straight as an arrow.
Kamau was in the passenger seat.
Problem, man.
And when he got out of the car to talk to the cop, hidden cameras were rolling.
Nah, man. What's the deal?
This is the view from street level.
Hey, come over here.
For what?
Because I'm telling you to, that's why.
A simple traffic stop suddenly escalates into screaming and violence.
Put your hands on your head now.
Why?
Do it now because I'm telling you to.
We started escalating the events to a much higher level than they needed to be.
Hands on your head, turn around.
I don't have a weapon.
Now what's
I
happening here?
now comply, and now he slams me into the window.
And after they put the handcuffs on,
When he took me over to the hood of the car and bashed my head into the hood of the car,
just minutes after being stopped, Kamau is taken into custody. Charged with resisting arrest and assaulting a police officer.
Turn around and put your hands on your head now.
Official report of the incident, police described Kamau as being in a fighting stance and cursing.
Hands on your head, turn around.
It was Kamau, they said, who broke the window. His forward lunge as the officer was trying to restrain him. The slam into the hood of the car, just part of a pat-down search, the report says. These pictures seem to tell a different story of the incident, but they also show why Kamau brings controversy onto himself wherever he goes.
And you notice he had the old school cameras. He had to go out and buy one of those cameras. When they say hidden cameras, they're not talking about the GoPros of today. Kamau dedicated himself. Why did he do it?
1987, my father was stopped by police officers. He's driving with my younger sister and 4 kids in the car, and they get pulled over at gunpoint. 67 years old. He tells them he's a police officer. They lifted him up in the air and body slammed him and basically stomped him until his police ID fell out of his back pocket. And when they finished, they never even apologized. They told him he should understand. He's a cop, brush it off and go on your way.
But for Kamau, there was no brushing off this incident. He stopped being a believer and became instead a vocal, some would say strident critic of the police. He quit the force and with his camera vowed to reveal the abuse that he says has always been hidden. And at first, Kamau's father was critical of his son's open defiance. He had always burned quietly inside from the effects of racism.
He told me that I was thin-skinned, that I probably couldn't take it the way he took it.
Is he right?
Yes, he's right. He's right. And I told him, yeah, you're right, but I have a right not to want to put up with racism. I have a right to do something about it.
With his computer, he's turned the internet into a national clearinghouse for ordinary citizens' complaints against police. With his cameras, he's compiled a digital video archive, where skeptics can see his reality for themselves.
This is my name.
Kamau says he is not afraid to commend the good cops, like this courteous lieutenant he ran into in New York City.
Okay.
This is what you fill out here.
So you're not disappointed if you find good cops?
No. In fact, I post good cops on my webpage. If I could find more doing their job the way it's supposed to be done, I'd put more on the page. One of the biggest problems with human rights issues is data.
He earned his master's degree and occasionally lectures at Florida State University. Kamau says his work is a tribute to the one good cop who taught him so much.
Do you ever wish you could take all of your success and hand it to him in some fantasy moment?
Well, I try to. And in fact, I dedicated my website and the work I'm doing to his memory.
What makes somebody become the activist that so many people watch their channels now is exactly what you're seeing here, exactly what you're hearing here.
Kamau's father died in 1993. His cherished memory is undoubtedly the source of Kamau's passion. But could it also be something of a blind spot? Could this very personal stake in fighting police abuse compromise his objectivity?
Reality in terms of the promises that have been made to them with regard to civil rights. We don't have freedom to travel. We don't have freedom to live where we want to live, shop where we want to shop. And the police are all part of that, this barrier that we face. I don't want any more rights than anyone else in this country has. But the best thing about this country is that the common citizen, the man at the lowest end of the spectrum, has the rights of the richest people that live in this country, in that we have civil rights and protections that the police are not supposed to cross. But with black people, we're in a crunch. We have the gangs and the violence that live in our community on one end. We have the police that are trying to get at the gangs and the criminals on the other end, and they're crunching us in the middle. And law-abiding blacks just don't have a chance. You know, and I'm not trying to say that we don't have black crime, we don't have black criminals, but those of us who are conducting ourselves properly and just want to live in this country and try to make it, we face a tremendous threat when we run into the police.
Just so that everybody understands, the tactics that you are using to do this are what?
Well, the tactics that I'm using to do this is through the medium of public exposure. It hasn't been utilized in this way. I don't have the money or the people to make a civil rights movement happen again. But what I do have is the training and the experience, and also the support of some media sources to get the story exposed.
So therefore you could contact KNBC television and say, and they knew what you were doing, and so they could bring a camera along as you went through a certain area.
Well, to be honest,
pulled over.
To be honest with you, even without KNBC, I would do it anyway. I
videotape it yourself?
Well, the first sting operation I did in Westwood, we had a local news crew that was supposed to go. They backed out at the last minute. We filmed it ourselves. It wasn't the best film, but it was such that it shook some people up.
And you say sting operation because what?
Well, that's what it is. You're catching if I walk down the street with $20 hanging out of my pocket, knowing that there's thieves in the area and one of them reaches into my pocket and take it.
And you've got a gun under your coat.
And I've got a gun under my coat and a badge. He's been stung.
Right.
And the police are basically, they're not being lured into anything, but if they see me driving down the street and I'm law-abiding, they should not contact me. And if they do contact me and brutalize me as this officer has, he certainly was stunned.
This video pays homage to one of the original OG cop watchers, Diop Kamau. Thank you for your service, Patriot. If you want to see more of Diop Kamau, please subscribe to his YouTube channel, Police Abuse. He's only got 6.85 thousand subscribers. Hopefully by the end of this video, he's got 100,000. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one.